The Monday live stream. So a lot of things to go over. Let's just jump right into it. So today, as everybody knows, it's a pretty tough day as far as the market goes. We are seeing that we are hitting the low tides of the bear market. We're almost back down to negative 50%. Bitcoin today is 64,000. I think it was around 67, 68 at one point, but now just over the last so many hours, down another 3 or 4%. So almost 50% down from its all-time high. Ethereum below 2,000 at 62% from its all-time high. XRP at $1.36, down 62%, and so on and so forth. It's just one of those Mondays that we knew would happen, continues to happen, because we are in this bear market. And I have to tell you, it is yet another bear market for me, probably for you as well. This is probably like probably not your first rodeo, maybe your second or third different time around, but these are the days that sometimes a little bit tough to stomach and sometimes not so bad. So what I do during these difficult times is I just kind of go back to where I'm at, what I want to do. And Mondays have always been, not have always been, I shouldn't say that. Mondays are the best days, historically speaking, to dollar cost average. If we take a look here, Bitcoin historical best days, we can see that if you take a look at this, you're like, oh, Wednesday looks pretty good. I like Wednesday. Wednesday got like strong returns. But that's not what this is. These are the low points for the week, historically speaking. So chart shows the best day of the week, DCA, based on the average percentage difference from a moving average. Now, if we do this, we can see that the extension or the price appreciation from Wednesday moving forward is about 1.09%. So we want something as low as we possibly can to dollar cost average, and that will be Monday. And for the longest time, I was just dollar cost averaging every day, but over the last, month or so, I've just been dynamically dollar cost averaging on a Monday. Now, some people say, Rob, that's not good advice. And to them, I say, I'm not giving advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. But they're telling me that it's imperative that I wait for the 200-week moving average, or maybe the 250-week moving average, or maybe the 300-week, or the 350, or the 400, which I don't think we ever hit the 400. Regardless, the same people that didn't tell me the top are now telling me what I should do here for dollar cost averaging. That's okay. I will just continue to do what I do and move from there. So today, I actually, since I'm dynamically dollar cost averaging, I actually had to put more in as I'm buying. Now, what I could do is I could wait for a little bit more time, a little bit more of these 200-week moving average. But for me, I always feel like there should be some time where you should just put a little bit in and try to go from there. Now, this depends on what exactly you want to do per se. But for me, since I have my other business, mostly real estate and positive cash flow, once we get to lower key risk levels, then I'll be deploying even more funds. I still believe in the thesis of crypto, specifically Bitcoin, but in these bear markets, I know people look at this and go, it's very difficult. Yes, it is. And if it was easy, everybody would do it. So today we're down below 0.3, which means my plan is to increase my dollar cost averaging on Monday, which I did. And now we're at the levels of 0.293. And if I would have done this last cycle, I would have been way ahead. And this, of course, is from Ben's site. I encourage everybody to check it out. Link in the description. You can do the 10% off the first month and sign up. But a lot of this stuff or some of the stuff I'm showing you is free. And definitely check out this DCA simulation so you can kind of get in your head how this all works and to kind of go through different numbers and different scenarios. So for this situation, I'm saying, okay, instead of dollar cost averaging equal amounts, I'm going to dynamic DCA in. All right. So I just picked 4 years ago, 2022. And if I would have done $100 a week, again, not every day, just $100 a week, and I would have done this, and what's happening here is it's saying accumulate up to the risk level of essentially 0.5 or 0.49. After that, don't buy any more Bitcoin. Just buy the lows. And if it gets from 0.4 to 0.3, double up. And it goes from 0.3 to 0.2, triple up. And with that, so some weeks you're not spending anything, and some weeks you're spending $300. Just depends. And if you just followed this, if I would have followed this simple method, I would have put in at the peak the tippity-toppity, I would have invested over, gosh, 3 years and almost 3.5 years. I would have invested $25,500. Seems like a lot, but if you're doing $100 every week, hey, could make it happen. And the value at the top would be $140,366. That's a 450% increase. And that's at the top. If you would have just like round tripped your bags, like a lot of people do, you would only be up 172% or $73,000. So you would have invested $26,000 because again, you would be investing under those risk levels. You would have invested $26,000 and you'd still have $73,000 and you'd be feeling pretty good. Now, if you're feeling kind of like choking, like this is very dangerous for me. I don't feel good, probably because you may have gone a little bit too much. I can't give a financial advice on a financial advisor, but if you feel this way, this might not be the greatest time for you. Again, invest what you can afford to lose. Everything's a scam until or otherwise. Keep things off exchanges. Don't use leverage. And take some profits along the way. Nobody went broke taking profits. So I want to compare this to my old strategy, which was buying, just DCAing equal amounts, and the same thing. I'm just about $100 in every Monday. If I would have done that, well, first of all, I would have invested less, which is fine, $18,900. But at the very tippy top, I'll only be up 230% at $62,000. And then today, I'd only be up 62, but I would have invested $20,000 and I'll only be up $33,000. What a difference. Dollar cost averaging the basic way versus dynamically doing it. Again, it's all by risk levels. And if you're like, I don't get the risk levels, I don't know what those are, and you don't want to sign up, you don't want to check it out, that's fine. Just do a moving average. Here's moving averages. This is what people are spouting off about, especially friend of the show, Ivan on Tech, always talking about 200-week moving average, talking about that quite enthusiastically. The bomb. And yeah, we've got a ways to go before we hit that. That's right now we're at, that's not true. Let me refresh this. We're pretty close. We're at 64,000. The 200-week moving average is 58,000. Could we go to the 250? Sure. That would put us at 55,000. That's where I kind of see us going. Or a 300-week, 50,000, or maybe this magical 350-week down to 44,000. I think around 55,000 would be okay. But that's where I see things going. And that's, if you don't want to use like the risk levels, you can take a look at moving averages and go from there. And again, risk levels, if you just overlaid this, essentially as the price goes down, risk levels go down because it's not so overheated and overpriced. And you can just see it pretty much just lines up with the moving averages and that type of thing. But don't be fooled. This is going to be rough. Just remember, in the midterm years, which happen, 4 years, you got a presidential election, and 2 years later, you got midterms. And 2 years after that, you got another presidential election. It always coincides with our little 4-year cycles. And you can see in 2018, I mean, look at how many months were red. And they weren't just a little red, they were a lot of red. And we're talking negative 23% in January. I remember that January. That was like my first cycle. Scared the hell out of me. March was negative 36%. You had green somehow in April. Then you had negative 20, up 37, then down 14, 5, 3, 32, 10, and 10. That's a lot of months. Actually, you went 6 straight months. And then, of course, we go to 2022. Look at this. Negative 16, couple greens. Negative 15, 17, 37. Miraculous 20. Negative 15, 2, up 5, 16, and 4 until you get out of that. These midterm years, 1 year post all-time highs, are brutal. And you can see that it's been negative 4, negative 17, negative 3, negative 10, and so far in February, negative 18%, and I expect it to go lower. So that's kind of bad. let me give you a little bit of perspective. I was taking a look at, this is a good one. This was Natalie Brunel, and she had Michael Saylor on. I know, Michael Saylor's going to be a permanent bull. I mean, that's just how he is. But what he talks about here, this is about a minute and a half or so. He's going to talk about Apple stock and how fast it actually went down. It dropped by 45% in between end of 2012 to 2013. And it was, roughly 7-8 months or so. And he said, hey, Bitcoin went down roughly 50% in 4 months. And he goes, as he talks about Apple, he goes, if you would have just bought during that time, or even afterwards, it didn't really matter, you would have made a killing. The problem is that when the price goes down, people don't care about the fundamentals. They just get scared. Anyhow, take a listen to this. This is a pretty good one. I linked the entire episode in the description. It's like an hour and a half. No, it's almost 2 hours long. So have fun listening to that. This I thought was the best part. It's about a minute and a half. Take a listen.
So, there's a famous video of me in 2013 speaking about the virtues of the iPhone and Apple, and it went viral for a while.
There's not an 8-year-old on the planet that doesn't want an iPhone 5.
Mm-hmm. And if you go back and you look at maybe the greatest company of our era, Apple, and the greatest stock, a stock that made people insanely rich. Apple releases the iPhone in 2007. The P to E of Apple is 30. The iPhone isn't a success for 2 years. Around 2009, on the iPhone 3, people start to think, and myself included, I didn't think the original iPhone 1 or 2 were that useful. There was no app store, there was no cut and paste, they were kind of toys. Around 2009, the iPhone starts working. It's iPhone 3. By 2012, they're around the iPhone 4, iPhone 5. Everybody agrees it's a cool product. Apple stock peaks. Then it crashes. Between late 2012 and May 2013, Apple stock falls 45%. The same 45% Bitcoins fall. The Apple P to E goes to 10. The Ford P to E less than 10. It's being valued like a tired cash cow, utility company. Like no technology, no future. People are down on it. You know how long it takes, Natalie, before Apple recovers to a P to E of 30 from 2013?
Years?
7 years.
7 years.
In 2020, Apple returns to a P to E of 30. So it's 13-year cycle from 2007 to 2020. The greatest company of its era, at many times the most valuable company, the most successful product, the product that 1 billion people agree is something they can't live without, maybe the most successful product in the history of the human race, takes 13 years, peak to trough to peak.
Sounds pretty good. Anyhow, the whole point of that was just to kind of get you into the idea, the process. Like, look, some things get overvalued at some point. Some things get massively, massively undervalued, even though if you take a look at it and go, wow, just looking back, it just makes so much sense. And that's the whole thing, essentially, that we've been going through during these cycles. We go up, and it's like, well, that makes total sense because of this. And then it goes down, and people get fearful. And then when it rebounds, as it always does, and people always look back and go, it's so obvious. It's so obvious. We should have just been there for that, and so on and so forth. So just want to give you a little bit of perspective, and that is what is going on so far in today in this little neck of the woods. And as a reminder, as we go through this, remember, these times are pretty great opportunities for those who seize them. Some people don't, and they can sit on the sidelines, and that's okay too. Sometimes you don't have to, do everything in one day or 1 week or 3 months. Sometimes you just don't do anything. But one thing I can do is remind you is that if you are investing in a Roth IRA like I am, as a reminder that you have until April 15th to contribute to it, to contribute for last year. And then if you want to contribute for this year, of course, you can do it right now, all the way through the end of 2026 into 2027. But if you want to contribute because you have a maximum amount, whether that be $7,000 or $8,000, which will go to your Roth IRA, which is a retirement account in iTrust. And of course, it becomes taxed exempt for the gains that you have if Bitcoin does inevitably, potentially go to $1 million like all the talking heads say it's going to. But that's a price prediction, and those all are awful. Anyhow, that's it for today. So everybody, like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. What we talk about is time sensitive. Now let's get into a little Q&A, answer all your questions, and we'll go from there. What is everybody's questions? Let's see. Con Rizzle says, who's excited about buying 60K Bitcoin? Not I, said the rabbi. You know what? Nobody wants to buy as it goes lower because it's tough. It's like, and then people, I remember when I got in 2017 and 2018, that first bear market, and I would get so annoyed at these people who would say, oh, it's a great discount, and you got to accumulate. Damn word, accumulate. And you got to keep going. You got to keep buying and buying and buying. I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit back and try to figure out what the hell I just did. And if I would have done, looking back, I remember when Bitcoin was like, it went below 5,000. I'm like, there's no way I'm touching that trash. I'll just hold on to this. Hopefully it rebounds. I'm not going to buy anymore. I remember when like Ethereum went to like $100. And I just kept going. But nobody wants to buy this level because at these low levels, because like, why would I buy it here? It's going to keep going down. I just want to be able to buy it at like 2 cents and then sell it at $1 million. Is that so hard? Yes, it is actually. Let's see. Abu Saad says, I got in 2022. Figured that's the best time to get in, my personal opinion. Let's see. Rob, thoughts on Tesla, not just the car company. I own stock in it. I'm very excited about it. Hopefully everything kind of works out. I wish I could get into Starlink if they ever IPO, hopefully. But I think Tesla's going to do just great. If you're into artificial intelligence and into a lot of different things that it can do, I just saw that they just rolled out the first cyber taxi. Wouldn't that be interesting? You have essentially a car that drives you everywhere, anywhere. And then when you're not using it, you can just like send it on its way to go, pick up people and be an Uber driver. I thought about that. I'm like, that's like the ultimate cash flow. It's like, like these houses and properties, you put them on Airbnb or VRBO or Google short-term rentals. And, you're there, you bought it, you live in it sometimes and you rent it out. It's pretty great. It's the same thing, but there's really no overhead for it. Now, maybe for electricity. That was pretty great. Yeah. Happy to see you back on DCA with James. That's always an interesting show, that's for sure. Always interesting. Always interesting. Smash a like. I can get behind that. Jesky says, I DCA every week. Pretty good. I sold 9% of my alts 2 months ago. Congratulations. What USDC I have left, I'll deploy. Most of it goes to 60K. It's a good idea. Some people just say, I'm not going to do anything. I don't have to buy every week. Sounds good. Just, as the price goes lower, maybe we want to think about that. But I got to tell you, there's this undercurrent philosophy. And it seems like, and you hear about this every day, about old whales or old wallets waking up and selling Bitcoin. I just think it's just a natural progression, because the whole idea of the original Bitcoiners, and you see in the white paper, I don't know if anybody's actually read the Bitcoin white paper, where it's supposed to be for peer-to-peer transactions. Newsflash, nobody's using Bitcoin for transactions on a day-to-day basis for the majority. Yes, you hear about some people buying a yacht or something, I don't know. But nobody's going around, or I should say this, not nobody. Very few people are going around using it for transactions. And that's what it was supposed to be meant to be. And I think the cyberpunk people and the original OGs said, you know what, that's what I saw it for. This proof of, or this store of value, I guess, but this isn't for me. I'm out. And that's I think now we move from the original philosophy of what Bitcoin is into this new philosophy, which is more of a store of value, buy and hold, digital gold type of thing. And I think those guys are going to let go because they're just not into it anymore. And I don't blame them. Have you ever had a business? Like, I don't know, you guys, I don't know your background, but you ever had a business where you just like, you run it for so long and then you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to sell it. And you just get out. Like I've had a couple of those, and you just like one day like, this isn't what I signed up for. Times have changed in my life. I want to do something else. I think that's what's going on here. And then of course it goes to TradFi, and they butcher it and do whatever. But in the end of the day, I think if you have sovereign nations and you have large institutions, say like Fidelity and BlackRock, and you have current administrations that are backing Bitcoin, and to a lesser extent, the different rails for stable coins, which would be like the Binance, Ethereum, Solana's, and Tron's, the best. I think at some point everything will just transition over, and we'll get into be more TradFi. It may not be as cyberpunk as they want it to be, but things change. That's how it is. It's kind of like, not to go on a tangent, but it's kind of like when man first discovered iron ore, right? They had no idea that you could make that and build skyscrapers out of it. Like, nope, let's just make it into flints and arrows and kill people with it, and swords and maybe a shield. And now here we are. And then different alloys. So different technology changes over time for the usefulness of what you want it to be. Ryan Van Tech says, it sounds great that your brand new car drives back to you at the end of the day filled with vomits and used sedums and the leather ripped out of it. So it's the same thing as, say, like Airbnb and VRBO for like short-term rentals. If someone comes and stays in this house, right, and they trash the place, Airbnb and VRBO, they have insurance up to $1 million. So if it's some kind of crazy, wacky party, first of all, they have the person's information. This is why people like say, I don't want to give you any of my KYC or know your customer type of stuff. Well, they know everything about you. They have your credit card information. I'm protected by the insurance. They can go after them legal if they really want to. And it'd be the same thing with this cyber company. It'd be the same thing as like, if you use an Uber and you punch the driver or something, they probably haul you into court. I mean, criminally. And then, of course, they know exactly who you are. So, yeah, and on that spectrum, it seems kind of ridiculous, but it's why there's some kind of checks and balances. That is funny. For some reason, I'm feeling that we'll see 45K-ish Bitcoin. Does anybody know what the percentage drawdown when that would be? Hold on, I got a quick reference. I mean, it seems kind of reasonable, 45K. Because look at this. So, cycle 1 in 2015, we went down 85%. Cycle 2 is 2017, we went down 84%. And cycle 3, 2021, 22 is 77%. So if we follow that same trajectory, 77% is $29,000, folks. 77% drop from the all-time high on October 6th is $29,000. So people like me, I'm like, yeah, 55K, right? But 55K is like 55%. It's not even 60%. 60% drawdown would be 50,000. Definitely could be that. All right. Crypto Stevo says, your thoughts on some DeFi products such as Aerodrome and Morpho? Great deals or stay away? I don't know about DeFi stuff. I don't know where things are going to go now. It's just that stuff is beyond the risk. I mean, if you want to dump a little bit into it, you could, but just know it's probably all going to be gone. I mean, look, even some people are saying that, if you put any money into Bitcoin, it'll all be gone because, quantum computing is coming, which I think is the Bitcoin version of Y2K, but whatever. The narrative takes hold. People get spooked. They don't know what they're talking about, and they get out. Yeah. Ooh. Jimmy says fear and greed are at record lows. Just hit 5. Jimmy, do me a favor. What's the lowest it's been before this day? And what was that number? I'm just curious, because if 5 is the record, have we ever hit, I guess if 5 is the lowest, that'd be pretty amazing. I got to tell you, I'm not feeling too bad about it. I always felt like, you know, people would capitulate. They would get scared and like, hey, this isn't for me. They get out. They should get out. It's not for everybody. And it's not like I'm sitting here going, well, I'm super happy that everything's going, you know, dropping massively. I'd like it to go up too, but I know where we're at. This is the market we got dealt. You know, you play the hand that you're dealt. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, green screen spurts. Sliding door. Maybe you can hear the green screen fountain. Damn, this door's heavy. Either that or my shoulder's really weak. Anyhow. All right, that's good enough. Maybe not. Oh, congratulations, Team USA. Sorry, Canada. Bunch of losers. No, I'm just kidding. It was a great game. How about that USA hockey team? Yeah, it was great. Miracle on Ice 2. Everybody was happy about that. I have to move to PR, stuck in a blizzard. Well, Leisure, we could use you here. Always need more people. Rusty Bot, 64. Oh, thank you, Rusty. See, someone's good with math. 64%. Wow. Wow. Men's and women's. Very nice. USA getting gold in hockey. Nothing for the price of Bitcoin. So why are we talking about it? Yeah, 18K. It's pretty good. That's pretty low. Liminal. Quantum computing is a practical concern. It's a practical concern, but it's not like it's a practical concern like right now. It's like people who are scared. They're like, the sun's going to burn out. Yes, that's true. All stars do. Then they implode, and there's a black hole. Everything gets sucked into that. That's not supposed to happen for another billion years. Quantum computing is not going to be in a billion years, but it's going to take 2,330 qubits, logical ones, not the physical ones. Logical ones are very hard to maintain and stay stable. It needs that many to crack Bitcoin's code. And that's going to take at a minimum into 2030. And even at that point, the top researchers say it's going to be, you have like a 40% chance of that happening. But if it goes to 2031, it goes up to 60% chance. So I get it, it's a practical concern, which you are right. But I mean, everybody's getting out like it's going to happen tomorrow. So, I mean, it is fine. I think 5 is the lowest. No, I get 5 is the lowest. What was the next lowest? And when was that? I call this the inverse bull market. That sounds like the title for my next video. Very nice. Canada shares the gold medal as the 51st state. Yeah, Y2K. I remember Y2K. Matter of fact, I was working med surge that night, and everybody was like, you know, because we're all documenting things, and then at the point where it switched over, and we all kind of were like, that's BS. Everybody was like, that's BS. I was working a 7 to 7 shift, and then when it went over, we were all looking at each other like, okay, are we still here? Nothing blew up, and we all just started laughing. And but Y2K was like a big thing back in '99 into that day. Yeah, it's pretty fun. The concern is not that it's happening soon, it's the amount of time to remediate. What Liminal is talking about, it's the amount of time to move the Bitcoin that are in wallets that are not quantum proof into wallets that are quantum proof. And what they're saying is that the low end, it could be 6 months to transfer everything over. On the high end, they say it's 18 months. And I think even somebody has said 24 months. So if that's the case, okay. How about if we say that, and there's already been a BIP, a Bitcoin Improvement Protocol set forth to remediate these quantum computing variable wallets. So they're already working on that, the Bitcoin team, Bitcoin core developers, or Bitcoin developers. Michael Saylor's already come out and said, we are going to help them move things forward so we can actually make this happen. So you have two big entities going that way. Let's say it takes 6 months to a year to get going. So now you're at 2027. And it takes you that much time, 2028 in the middle. So you still have about another 1.5 years to go. If things slow down, yes, perhaps, I get it, but I just don't see why everybody has to say this is the worst thing to happen to Bitcoin and we need to get out of it as soon as possible. Okay, well, it's not going to happen anytime soon, so why would you get out right now? I think it's more of a reason to get out and a reason to dump it and do whatever they want behind the scenes. Yeah, I know. Well, it's nighttime. It's getting to be nighttime in Puerto Rico, so birds come in, worms go out, eat the worms or whatever else in there. They're all over the place. I knew nothing was going to happen on Y2K. We didn't know. We thought, I mean, all the experts told us, you know, things were going to go down. It was going to be awful. It's going to be like the worst thing of all time, and it didn't. But we can't do. Well, all right, everybody. That's it for today, or tonight, or today, wherever you're at. So, yeah, good luck. It's going to be, as far as like price levels, you're probably going to see more of a drop. There may be a mini rally coming up. I mean, you look, historically speaking, you know, sometimes, you know, we have this nice little rally around March, definitely not February, but moving into March, you have like a little bit of a rally. This is what's happened like 2019. I want to say 2016, but I can't remember. So you probably get a little bit of a rally. Don't get too exuberant and excited. But if you, at that point, had not taken profits, probably a good idea to do so, or just take a look at it. And then, you know, strap yourself in for a pretty bumpy ride getting out of this midterm year. Let's be honest. It's going to be crazy politic-wise. That's it for now, everybody. So thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.